Interactive Brokers has been one of the most phenomenal investment accounts that I've ever seen, and I'm going to dig into many of the reasons why. I've been using it for many years along with other competitive products, and I use multiple products. I don't just use one, but I want to explain why Interactive Brokers has been one of my top picks and one of my absolute favorite types of investment platforms, and maybe why I don't use it solely for all of my investments. So stay tuned for all of that. So let's first dig into costs. So this is one of the very first things that people look at when they're looking at an account, and it's very fitting to do that. But you can see here that we've got stocks and options and futures, and I bought all of them. I bought options, I bought futures, stocks, I've sold them, all that kind of stuff, all that fun stuff. I've done it all. And I have always found that the prices are just like a fraction of the cost. I'm not going to go into an analysis and break it all down. What I can say is that Interactive Brokers, by far, has been the absolute cheapest in regards to all of the costs of all the trades. Now, some people might say, because I live in here in Canada, well, what about Wealthsimple? There's 0% trading fees, 0% trading fees. But they have it. A lot of times what people do when they go to invest is they go to the NASDAQ, to the US stock market, and they buy at least some items in there. So if you're just staying on the Toronto Stock Exchange, sure, something like Wealthsimple can be good. But for Interactive Brokers, the thing is that it's actually a lot cheaper here. Because with Wealthsimple, you have to pay a conversion fee. And I believe it's at the time of this video, it's about 1.5% conversion fee every time you go to buy a US stock and then sell it. So that's like 3% of your profit right there. That's a huge conversion fee in my mind. And so, something like Interactive Brokers is fantastic, because if I was to even try to do a conversion, so when I put in my Canadian dollars and I'm ready to go and buy something on the New York Stock Exchange, so I need to have it in US denominated currency, so I need to have USD in my account, right? So I need to have those American dollars in my account. So when I go to do that conversion, it's usually maybe a dollar or two. It's really super cheap. I've never really spent anything extremely expensive on being able to have that conversion within their Forex trading. And so I've found that Interactive Brokers is even cheaper than, doing something like on Questrade called Norbert's Gambit, which tends to be pretty good and pretty cheap actually for being able to convert Canadian to USD on Questrade. So Wealthsimple tends to have the highest expenses there. But anyways, so Interactive Brokers is cheap that way. And then when you look at the fees that are associated with actually, buying stocks, buying options and futures, every time I go to do a trade, I was like, why is the commission so cheap? Why is it so low? And it's just so competitive in that regard. I've never seen a bank, I've never seen anybody actually hit that target and get it as low as Interactive Brokers has for converting currency and being able to actually put on trades. Boom. That is the best, honestly, if you're looking for a cost basis. Interactive Brokers takes the cake. And you might say, Aaron, well, why don't you just do everything Interactive Brokers? Well, we're going to get into it. And one of the main reasons is the accounts that you can use. So those that are living in Canada, there's a first-time homebuyer savings account. There's registered education savings plans. There's, RIFs. There's all sorts of accounts that they don't support. And I'm so upset about that. I just wish they had more support for registered accounts. They do have an RRSP and they do have a TFSA at the time of this video. But Interactive Brokers, if you're watching, come on, cater to the Canadians and get those accounts over here, because we really want to take advantage and fully use your services. And so because of that, I actually find that I have to use another product called Questrade. So I'll leave a link down below if you're interested in that, and you can sign up. Everything that you sign up with, there's usually some little perk that you get for signing up using the link. They're affiliate links. I do get a little kickback from it. And what they do is that it's just an incentive way of getting people to sign up for the services and just get their stuff promoted. Just like if you're with your bank and you're telling your friend about it, you have a link that you're giving them. And you're simply getting a little kickback from that, and they're getting some money in their account just to open the account. So yeah, anyways, Interactive Brokers, fantastic program. But yeah, the registered accounts, that's the main reason, literally the main reason why I do something like Questrade. Now there is another cool thing that a reason why I actually use Questrade even for my tax-free savings account, and it's called margin power, and I can use margin power on my tax-free savings account. You can't do that with Interactive Brokers, which kind of sucks. And then when I'm looking at the margin rate for Questrade, when it comes to a couple securities that I like within the S&P 500, instead of it being 30%, it's actually 20%. So there's a couple of like unique ideas that I can do over at Questrade. So there's a few reasons why I use Questrade, but for my main margin account, I typically use Interactive Brokers to be able to trade different types of things, because one of the cool things with Interactive Brokers that I found especially tricky in Canada is being able to trade futures. For a lot of people that are just kind of getting started, again, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Trading derivatives like options and futures, it's not a big deal. So don't even pay attention to that part. But for people that are maybe a little bit more advanced trading, having the ability to be able to trade futures is a fantastic feature within Interactive Brokers. And they also have a huge lineup of products, like when it comes to bonds. I was able to buy like treasury bonds right from Interactive Brokers broker house, to buy some US treasuries, which was fantastic. Just being able to do that all within the trading platform. Now, something like Questrade does have those types of abilities to buy things, but there are limitations, and there are some products that it doesn't have. Like when I was looking for the US treasuries, I wasn't able to find those on Questrade. So there are some limitations and drawdowns that I find. And then the fees are super cheap for buying those things as well too. I was shocked at how low the fees constantly are. So Interactive Brokers is awesome. And then also because it's global and it goes far reaching into all these different countries, they've been around for a very long time. Everything's insured, it's backed, like all of the accounts and stuff like that. So there is a lot of protection there. But again, Interactive Brokers, because they're very large that way, their products and their way that they actually have their programs is very clean. So I'm going to dig into that over here. So you can see here they have their trading platforms. Here's the various trading platforms that they have. Now, the one that I really like to use is their Trader Workstation. I just like it because I can actually break down my screen and look at all the different types of data that I like. Again, I'm more of a passive investor, even though I know how to do derivatives and do other types of complex trades. My style of trading is actually more passive. I'm not a day trader. I'm not looking at it as doing it as like a business or anything like this. I'm just simply wanting to be a passive investor when it comes to my personal investments. If you look at someone like Ray Dalio as an example, the guy's analyzing everything from A to Z, but he's created passive portfolios. Warren Buffett's, a component, an advocate for passive portfolios. There's a lot of different people out there that have passive portfolios, but I just like to have the data at my fingertips, especially when I'm trying to get into putting on some various trades. I want to see all of the data really quickly. I want a snapshot of everything that I want to see when I go to put on those trades. And I just find I can dig into stuff and customize it and make it really fancy. I might do a future video on that, by the way. But anyways, these are all the different types of platforms. I've used most of them. Their mobile app's all right. Trader Workstation, I really like. They do have a desktop app. So there are a lot of different platforms that you can use. And what I found with their platform is it is so deep. It is so sophisticated. Like when I compare it to others, just being able to like put on a trade, it gives me this like really good projection when I'm doing like options trading. Sure, other platforms can do it, but it's very clean and it's very advanced. So if you want to really get into a lot of advanced type of stuff and you want something really clean and something that'll actually be able to, that you'll be able to use down the road, I found that for myself, I've constantly, as I continue to learn more about investing and continue to get better at it, that I am getting more and more interested in Interactive Brokers. So they are setting themselves up to be that really awesome broker house. Now let me give you a couple other really cool things about Interactive Brokers. One of the reasons why I like using my margin account with them is if I get into these margin rates, again, this is as the time of recording this video, you can see here that like the USD, the actual margin rate that you actually pay is, the benchmark plus 1.5%. And depending on how much money you have in your account, if you have like a ton of money in your account, you could be at, benchmark plus 1% or benchmark plus 0.75. Whatever it is that you have in your account, it determines how much the cost of that margin is, which is fantastic. These rates are better than like most rates that I've seen out there, like even within lines of credits, it's like, it's so competitive to be able to actually use your margin so that you can actually, invest like fantastic rates. That's one thing that I find really awesome about Interactive Brokers. So if you're wanting to get into setting up like just a regular margin account, maybe you've maxed out all your registered accounts, and then you want to get into just some regular investing, or maybe there's some trades you can't do in your in your registered accounts that you want to do with Interactive Brokers, within certain types of derivatives plays and stuff like that. That's where Interactive Brokers really shines. Another cool thing is interest rates. So when I look at the interest rates that you get here, you can earn money. So a lot of times, you can get into a money market fund. You can get into like short-term bonds, high interest savings account, those types of things to be able to have your money grow when it's just sitting there. But you can also just have your money just sitting on Interactive Brokers, and the rates are actually not too bad when you look at them. So, you can actually get quite a good rate here. You can look at like, USD. You can get yourself into, as of recording this video, 4.08%. So it's the benchmark minus 0.5%. That is really good. Like, I mean, these rates are on another level of its own. Like, nobody is touching Interactive Brokers on any of these things. It's fantastic. Like, I really, really appreciate them. And then another really cool thing is their market data. When I look at their market data, I've bought their market data before. And I remember, looking at their packages. They have decent costs for their packages. And then you mix that with the Trader Workstation, it tends to be fairly good. And I'm not really trying to boast on Interactive Brokers because they're, incentivizing me to do so by giving me a sponsorship or anything like that. They don't even, I would never even want to take a sponsorship because I'm just talking about the products that I like. But this is what I found, like getting into their market data. I found like, getting into it, like they have the rate, the pretty good fee, but then also, there were times where I didn't need the market data package, and I actually only needed to really see a few trades like within the futures market that I was actually wanting to pay attention to, because there were some common trades that I was doing. And so I ended up actually talking to them, and they said, well, you could just buy just that one area. You could buy just that one, that one exchange that you're, just that one thing that you're looking for. And so it cost me like $1, I think it was like $1.50 a month for my data package. And I was like, this is on a whole nother playing field. Like, I've not seen anybody given that kind of data. Sure, you can go to like the banks, and I think there have been at times where they give like the Toronto Stock Exchange. But again, I usually trade a lot on the American, on the NASDAQ. So, I find that, those data packages that they give are not good, and then their fees are extremely high, so they're still eating money out of your pocket. But Interactive Brokers has been fantastic, like one of the best platforms. And then when it comes to Interactive Brokers, their margin requirements tends to be quite on par with basically what the regulators are saying you have to go by. They tend to have, and again, these are if you're trading on margin, and then also, if you're depending on if you're getting into futures or options. But when you're trading on like the futures market, they tend to be a little bit more conservative, depending on which securities you're trading, than some other types of accounts. But to be honest, if you're really hitting those caps, you're probably playing a risky game. So for me, because I do more of a passive style, that doesn't even faze me. I don't even care, because I don't even come close to that, because the margin that I'm using is minuscule. I'm just using my margin to be able to, and a lot of people get scared when they hear that, but I just use a little tiny fraction of margin in order to just kind of lift my investment slightly. There is the ability to lower your risk by doing that from time to time. So there is safe ways of doing that. So do I use margin, and do I care about margin requirements? Not necessarily. But if you're playing that kind of game, just know that there's probably another product out there that would probably be a little bit better for you if you're going to play that kind of high risk game. But, margin requirements aren't too bad. And so, again, a lot of this stuff is regulated. So they have to kind of put the rates at a certain level anyways. And I think that covers it for Interactive Brokers. If you're interested to find out why I like using Questrade or Wealthsimple, I'm going to leave a link to those videos down below. And if you are interested in signing up for my newsletter, where I give you updates on any of the products that I'm using, if I change one of my products and reasons why, you can do that as well too. I'll leave a link to the website where you can go and check that out, and you can actually see all of the other types of products and services that I use. And I'll be having future videos to explain those products and services, and then I'm going to actually have times of being able to do deep dives into these products and just show how to use some of them. So I'm looking forward to see you guys in the next video.